एंड वी बिलीव कि आपको अगर एक स्पाइडरमैन चाहिए ना, तो आपके पास कम से कम 10,000 राइटर एक टाइम पे सोच रहे हो कम्पीट कर, तो अब एक स्पाइडरमैन निकल के आता है, एक आयरन मैन निकल के आता है. तो अगर इंडिया लिखेगा नहीं तो आपको इंडिया से एक फ्रेंचाइज मिलेगी नहीं. सेकेंड इज आवर मुगाफी डिफेंस यूनिवर्स, अंडर विच वी आर कलेक्टिंग a lot of defense stories from India and around India. Think of, when you look at a Hollywood movie, you find a CIA or FBI solving all the world's issue for you. So you feel, okay, if these people are not here, we will be shot down by aliens by now. So, but we also have our own force, right? We have a raw, you go to Israel, you have a Mossad, you have a Russian force, you have a Chinese spy. Why are they not doing anything?
As a lot of people who are looking to start their own journey in entrepreneurship, what do you suggest, given your variable journey? Do you think they should start to exit maybe first a few companies and then build the final one for themselves, or start for legacy right from day one?
If you always have a problem sustaining the house, you can't solve the problem outside, right? So while I was building my first and second company, I remember I was still teaching. At Crick and Win, though we raised money, but I was not taking any salary. So at the evening, I used to go and teach to make sure that my money comes in. But after 2 exits, 3 exits, now I'm at the place I don't have to worry, right? You don't take salaries from years. You have a bad time, good time, and you can pass it all through because you made decent money in the past. आज की कहानी है जो जेन जी को सुननी है, वो कहानी रामायण नहीं हो सकती, बिकॉज रामायण को हम सुनते थे या हमारे पेरेंट्स सुनते थे, उनका वर्ल्ड को देखने का तरीका बिल्कुल अलग था. तो अगर आपको जेन जी को सेम कहानी सुनानी है और सेम आपको ये देखना चाहिए कि मुझे इस कहानी से, और कहानी इज़ माई सेकेंडरी ऑब्जेक्ट, माई प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्ट, कि मुझे ये वैल्यू सिस्टम और ये वैल्यूज़ क्रिएट करनी है एक पूरी जनरेशन में. व्हेन AI comes, what AI is doing is we feed all the data, it works on the data and gives you the output. It does the smart things more smartly. So you have things happening. So a lot of the operational job will be sorted by AI, and that's a good part. As a human, why do you have to put your brain into doing the operational tasks, right? What's our day-to-day fight? That we are thinking less, we are doing our operational work more. Like our most of the time went into managing things, operating things, writing things. If those things can happen by AI, your job will become to do the smart things.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Badhta India Dekho, one fresh episode. हमने अभी तक कभी सोचा है कि इंडिया में अपना डिज्नी क्यों नहीं है? Why can't we build one company which can actually take us through the entire trip, right from those comics to those animations and eventually to the movies? Yes, चुपके से एक कंपनी बन रही है ऐसी, और उसका नाम है मुगाफी. Today we have Vipul Agarwal, the founder of Mugafi, who not only believes that this India can do together, but also deeply in spirituality. Someone who lost his dad at the age of 10, eventually did not even have money to eat food and therefore survived on water, was fired from his first job at the age of 16 on his 52nd day, but still is building one of the largest empires in the entertainment industry for India. आओ देखते हैं उनकी जर्नी. Welcome Vipul to Badhta India Dekho. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation and making it eventually on the platform. And it's been a fantastic journey. Reading about you is almost like reading a book of so many ups and downs that a career can go through, and eventually reach a point where it seems that you have found traces of what you want to build for the world eventually. So before I get into your story, can you tell me, if you look at your life from an outsider perspective, how do you evaluate your life till now?
So, first of all, thank you for having me here. And I know we have been juggling for the last a month or so to figure out the time, and glad we made it today. I think from a outsider lens, I don't know, it's very hard to judge. Every life is different, right? And like when I look back as me personally today and seeing that how my last 30 years have been, I think what I see is I've been trained to tackle the larger issues at any point of time, the issues that are bigger than me. And that's what been inculcated in me throughout the time, that at the age of 10 you have issues which are bigger than you, so you have to face them. At the age of 12 you're facing different issues which are again maybe bigger than you, but all of those times you've been learn how to grow beyond those, how to come out of all those situations and still keep going, keep looking forward. I think the one thing which I learned from my own self is that whatever goes through, there's always a life ahead. So you can keep looking forward, you can keep trying hard, and if not today, then tomorrow should be your day. And if you are really true to yourself, one day will be your day for sure.
That's true, but it's not very easy to execute that kind of a thought process. Do you want to tell us some pivotal moments of your life? Maybe just pick up the top 2 and how it has shaped this mindset, this attitude in you.
There are no one or two moments. I think this mindset eventually start coming after incident, right? And that's what happened. Like one thing which have been incorporated in me, I think before 10 years of age, what all happens in my life, I was very negative towards, why the life have been like this to me, and why do I have to go through all these issues? I can't handle all these. But after, I think there was a moment of my life when I lost my father. And
how old were you?
I was 10 back there.
I'll just stop you. Just remember the story. You said about negativity and why we think that why it has happened to us. Research says 98% people, if given a neutral situation which has both pros and cons, would always look at the con first. Yeah. And there are just 2% people who are said to have the growth mindset that we talk about, who look at the pros first and therefore change the complete situation towards that.
Yeah.
So you're talking about all of us when you're saying that I have been negative. And therefore, how did you make this shift? Going back to your story.
Yeah. So a couple of things happened, right? When my father passed away, I still remember the day I went there and I had to do all the rituals that I had to do. I didn't cry at that point of time. For me, the most important piece is that I have a family to look after. And the thought that emerged at that point of time in me is not that I lost what I have lost, and I was very close to my father when I lost him. Even today, I think about him. But at that point of time, I thought when he left a lot of responsibilities to me. And at that point of time, I can't go weaker. How good or how bad the life is from here, I have all these people to look after, and I have to keep growing from here. I think that's a one big shift that happens in my life. And after that, whenever life challenged me, and I think what happens is that the moment you start going on one path and you say, I'm going to look at positives, you've been tested a lot, to see that can you really keep that mindset for a long time. And a lot of incidents kept on happening. I had to go to college after 12th. I didn't have the fees to pay. I joined call center, got fired. Now I had to look back and see, oh shit, because of this, I can't do a college. And, you have all the excuses in life to not do anything.
You joined a call center after your class 12th?
After my class 12th, yeah.
To have money for college?
Yeah. But if I would have think in that way, that, I had all the excuses in life today for telling the world that, this is the reason why I didn't do much. It's going to be my loss. It's not going to be anyone else's loss, right? So if I have to look for myself, the only way to is keep looking forward. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing for myself. I'm doing for me first and then the surroundings after that. So there's no reason to do any or to give any excuses around. If you've been fired from one place, there's always second place you have to find. I think that's one after another. Even a God gave me a lot of paths, and I believe when I go back and I look back that, what about that call center fire didn't happen, what happened to me? I would have stuck in that 20,000, 25,000 job a month, which was pretty good at the age of 16, 17, right?
True.
So you've been making a decent sum of money, and I've never seen that much money in the past. So if I had got that money, I would maybe wanted to continue it further, maybe wanted to earn more, and my life would have been completely different. So all of these incidents, I look in a way that it's been happened because there's always a bigger path that I had to take. It happened because there's always a new lesson I had to learn. And the only thing I did is that I kept on learning, and that's what I say to everyone. My life have been my teacher, the biggest teacher.
How do we figure out, Vipul, whether eventually we have made some meaning out of our lives or not? I'm asking you because you spoke about two life-changing events. One, your father's death, and second is getting fired from your first job, which you were saying was a benefit. Even now, do you think that you have been able to make meaning out of the life that you have got, or is there a long way to go? Even after you have traveled that long way,
Yeah.
does it still stand out in your own eyes or in the world's eyes? Where does this end, or where does this race end? I'm also asking you because you believe a lot in spirituality, and if you can connect the two things and tell the viewers and me some viewpoint of what are we chasing eventually. Is there a goal?
I think everyone have a different goal. When you've been born, and as I say to everyone, right, you have to identify your own goal. What are you here for? And in yoga also, you have a karma yogi, you have a different type of characters even inside the yoga. The way you meditate, is your work is meditation, is actual meditation is meditation for you, is playing is meditation for you. You have a cricketers for whom sports is meditation, so they do well there. So it's actually what you have been sent on this planet for, and you don't get to know on the day one. You have to really keep searching inside. You really have to have that question from you day in, day out. Even today, I think that, am I on the right path? Is it what I want? And the day I feel, no, there's something I've done wrong, and one good thing or bad thing, I don't know, but I've been very hard on myself for a very long time. Every night when I sleep, I play my whole day to figure out what all I have done right, what all I have done wrong. Is it something which is aligned to my goals or not? What are my goals? I'm on the right goals or not? And these are not easy answers. These are not something that you get just by asking yourself. But I still remember I spent like 2.5 years. I was meditating almost 3 hours a day. Morning, afternoon, evening. All those really connected me a lot with the energies around, helped me understand me
3
more.
3 hours a day is a long time.
Yeah. So I was practicing a lot of different type of meditation, mostly to identify what works with me, what suits me well, and basically to also tell myself or make me feel good about whatever I'm doing, I'm on the right path or not. So I don't think so there's any right answer or wrong answer. I don't think so there is a right age or wrong age. Sometimes people realize at the age of 60, sometimes people realize at the age of 8, 7, 5. It's totally up to what your journey have been, how curious you are about your own life, about your own meaning of life. And those things are important. So I don't think there is right and wrong answer to it.
So you said about कि आपने अलग-अलग तरीके के meditations करे. तो हमारे audience के लिए do you want to explain किस तरह का meditation होता है if you have
there are multiple practices. So one is obviously still meditation, where people ask you to don't think much, stay around, and I tried that too, but that's not a kind of meditation that I can do. I'm a person who need an outcome. So, and that's why wherever I go and I see the best form of yoga for me is a karma yoga, right? I'm a karma yogi who want to do things, who want to know is heading somewhere, and then to realize, yes, I'm on the path, and that's what makes me feel good. I think one, to identify where did you get the peace. Sometimes you get the peace in doing the work. So for me, I did a lot of different techniques of meditation. There's one thing called Silva meditation that I did for almost 2 years, practiced it. All of you must have seen Inception, about lucid dreaming. I practiced lucid dreaming almost for a couple of years.
Practice? How do you practice
There's
dreaming?
a set training of lucid dreaming. That's also a part of meditation. You do that.
That's very interesting.
So there are a lot of different, a very larger version of meditation. The moment you start getting deeper and deeper, you have a lot of methods that come from the world of India, Tibet, or a different part of the world. Even Mexico, Silva comes from Mexico, right? So I found all those methods here and there, took a year-long courses and stood around, did it. And COVID really did a lot of help for me because, you cut down the travel time, you have a lot of time back at home. So I think those times was amazing for me to, get on these paths.
Interesting. Vipul, help us with your journey therefore. I mean, early days and then college, and then I think you got into mathematics also, and eventually got into a very different field as a career.
Yes.
So briefly, but if you can tell us the milestones.
After 12th, after 10th, I ran away from home.
Ran away from home?
Yeah, so since then I'm learning, teaching all on my own.
No, but what made you run away?
I had a childhood. I didn't want to stay in the town. I actually grew up with my grandparents, not with my mom and dad. I didn't like being around there.
Which city was this?
Khurja.
Khurja.
UP.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm born in Bihar, Bettiya, where Manoj Vajpayee comes from. After 2.5 years, my mom and dad left me to my grandparents' place at
when
UP.
You were 2.5 years?
Yeah. UP, Khurja. So most of the upbringing happened over there till I was 12, 13 before I ran away from the house. Then after that, I got into a college, didn't have the fees to pay. So joined call center, Dish TV. Worked there for a while, didn't work out well, didn't get the money. After 52nd day, got fired. Then continued. Then I remember the one day I was heading back to in a local train going back to UP because I didn't have a place to live, and one of the friend, when I was in my running away time, so there was a person who was living right next to my room. He called out of nowhere, and I was chatting with him and I said, this is all going on, and he said that, my sister's friend is teaching in Delhi, so why don't you go and meet him? And next day I went and meet him, and that's when I started my teaching career in Delhi, from Dwarka. I was being paid 30 rupees an hour, no offs. That's my initial tuition journey, and that 2,000-3,000 rupees helped me to pay my tuition fees for college, which is a DU where I did my math honors. So that's the initial journey. I've been then 3 years in honors. I was teaching parallel. After that, I got into Trident as a business analyst, one of the youngest to get in. But the kind of salary I was getting there, I was making almost 70% of that by tuition.
By teaching.
I thought, let me continue my studies instead of jumping on a job right now. And I did my master's in stats. And that's why another turning moment of my life is I have also accidentally lost my sister.
Younger than you?
Younger than me, much younger than me, yeah.
Oh, God.
And then, but that, I think beyond that, what happened to me is that I was teaching at night. I thought day was pretty hard. I was to get out of emotional trauma. So I met a couple of folks who were starting company, and I didn't know about the startup back then. So I joined them, and we three then built this company called Root2Go, and that's my accidental enter in the world of startups. Where we built the first travel tech company, acquired by Ixigo.
Yes.
Spent a couple of years in Ixigo, built my second company after that in cricket. Idea was pretty much this, that a lot of people in tier 2, tier 3 town struggling for money. YouTube just came in India. What if I make them a commentator, writer, build a fan engagement around them? So you'll have a decent sum. So we scaled it to 10 million odd users, largely backed by Chinese VCs. Eventually got acquired. I used the money to went to Paris, studied at INSEAD. I thought I've done most of the things. I don't have a good college degree, so should I go to big college? And that was the decision that led me to INSEAD. While at INSEAD, I built my third company, Randomly Club, bootstrap. Again, I was studying at day.
This was during INSEAD?
This was during INSEAD. Within 18 odd months.
You were in the Paris campus or the Singapore?
Founty, yeah. Okay. So I did multiple. So we were at Singapore for a few times, Founty for last. But in that journey, in that period, I built that company called Randomly Club.
How did you get the money to study there?
My second acquisition.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
all the money that I got, I put back in the
education.
Study. Yeah. I'm a poker player. That's what I call myself. I'm always all in. I can't play multiple bets at the same time. If I'm doing things, I'm all in there. It's very hard to focus energies on 10 places and figure out and wait for one thing to happen. That's a user form of luck. I believe in myself. If I'm building something.
Play Shahid Kapoor in Pokerbazi ads.
Yeah. So that happened, and then that app got scaled to almost 92 million users, all organically. Never did any marketing spend. It was the features you were building, the organic SEO and all what I have learned while in Ixigo, while in Quick and Win. We got acquired. I made some money out of that. Started investing in the startups post INSEAD, and started Mugafi in 2020. So it's been 5 years now. Mugafi journey is going on.
Fantastic. This is mind-boggling, and multiple things about the teaching bit, then the call center bit, then 3 different organizations. As a lot of people who are looking to start their own journey in entrepreneurship, what do you suggest given your variable journey? Do you think they should start to exit maybe first a few companies and then build the final one for themselves, or start for legacy right from day one?
It's easy to say, but if you always have a problem sustaining the house, you can't solve the problem outside, right? So while I was building my first and second company, I remember I was still teaching. At Quick and Win, though we raised money, but I was not taking any salary. So at the evening, I used to go and teach to make sure that my money comes in. So, but I knew that 2 hours of teaching will be enough for me to sustain, because I have a 10-year experience of teaching. I was making a decent money, so it didn't bother much. But after 2 exits, 3 exits, now I'm at the place I don't have to worry, right? You don't take salaries from years. You have a bad time, good time. and you know you can pass this all through because you made decent money in the past. So it's important for you to fix your family, fix your house first before you go out and say I'm going to build for a legacy. Because if tomorrow it comes to a place where you don't have money to eat, you don't have a place to stay, you can't do anything which is because outside you're too much occupied in your own brain, in your own settings. It's very hard to build something around.
So true, it's making me go into my own thoughts, but help me understand Mugafi कैसे शुरू हुआ, मतलब इसके पीछे मोटिवेशन क्या था, अरे नाम का मतलब क्या है?
So नाम बहुत आसान है. Mugafi is MUGAFI, MU is music, GA is game, FI is film. So कोई मीनिंग नहीं है, बस it's a very random thought, but आसान to remember है. शुरू आई थिंक बहुत बेसिक आइडिया था मेरा. लॉट ऑफ माई इनिशियल जर्नी जो शुरू हुआ वो सब I spent a lot of my time in temple here and there. I think 1 घंटा 2 घंटा इधर उधर मंदिर में बैठना मेरा बहुत ज़्यादा बचपन से, मतलब I'm very spiritual that way, और whatever reasons also I've been always inclined. And Hindi ना. So काफ़ी ज़्यादा ऐसा डिफरेंट अलग अलग टाइप के गॉड्स हैव बीन कनेक्टेड टू एंड सीन द स्टोरी कि जब आप हनुमान जी को नॉर्थ में देखते हो या साउथ में देखते हो तो अलग कहानी है. तो वो सब कहानियों से बहुत जल्दी इंस्पिरेशन आया, या बहुत जल्दी देखा कि यार इतना कुछ डेप्थ है हमारी माइथोलॉजी में, इतनी सारी कहानियाँ हैं हमारी माइथोलॉजी में. एंड देन आई एम अ लिटिल पेट्रियोटिक, मतलब थोड़ा लगता है कि अपना इंडिया का कल्चर बहुत डीप है, हमारा हिस्ट्री है वो बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब हज़ारों साल पुराना है, बट इसके बारे में कहीं बात नहीं की गई, कहीं कुछ बताया ही नहीं गया. एंड देन हम देखते हैं हॉलीवुड मूवीज़ जहाँ पे दे प्रमोट यूएस हुआ या यूरोप हुआ, और मैं सबको बोलता हूँ कि यार आपके माइंड में जो एक यूएस की इमेज है या यूरोप की इमेज है वो इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि आप बीबीसी देखते हो या फिर आप कोई न्यूज़ चैनल देखते हो, इसलिए क्योंकि आप वहाँ का कंटेंट देखते हो, हॉलीवुड देखते हो, और हॉलीवुड से आपको लगता है कि ये ब्रांड बड़ी है या ये आर्मी बड़ी है. सो आई थिंक बेसिक थॉट था कि इंडिया से हम खुद ऐसा कुछ कंटेंट क्यों नहीं बनाते जो ग्लोबल जाए, और जो हमारे, बिकॉज योर मूवी और कंट्रीज मूवी, आपके देश की मूवी जो है वो आपके देश का सबसे बड़ा PR एजेंसी है. सो बेसिक थॉट था कि हम मुगाफी से ऐसा कुछ बनाएंगे जो ईस्टर्न साइड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, इंडिया, इन सब का एक्चुअल पावर हाईलाइट करेगा. एक ये बेसिक थॉट था. दूसरा था कि मैं खुद लिखता हूँ तो बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट है इस पूरी इंडस्ट्री में. जब मैं क्रिकेट कर रहा था, क्रिकेट विन कर रहा था, तो ये इंडस्ट्री में काफ़ी एक्सपोज हुआ थ्रू क्रिकेटर्स. आई मेट बॉलीवुड एक्टर्स, डायरेक्टर्स. तो वो पिछले मतलब बिफोर मुगाफी ऑल्सो 5-6 साल इस इंडस्ट्री में काफ़ी लगाए, एंड एज एन आउटसाइडर इंडस्ट्री को बहुत ऑब्जर्व किया. फिर और बहुत सी चीज़ें हो रही थी विद AI कमिंग इन. सेकेंड थिंग व्हाट हैपेंड इज दैट कि अगर आप मूवी इंडस्ट्री उठा के देखो तो पिछले 100 साल में बस एक चीज़ चेंज हुई है, वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन या फिर कैमरा एंड माइक का क्वालिटी अच्छा हो गया है, प्राइस चीप हो गया है, या डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए नेटफ्लिक्स आ गया है, यूट्यूब आ गया. बट कंटेंट क्रिएशन आज भी उसी तरीके से होता है, रिसर्च आज भी उसी तरीके से होती है, समय आज भी उतना ही लगता है, कहानियों की आइडेंटिफिकेशन उतनी ही हार्ड वर्किंग है. और जो भी आप कहानियाँ देख रहे हो पिछले 70-80 साल में वो सब 1920 से 40s के बीच में लिखी हुई हैं. सो ये सब चीज़ें मर्ज हुई. एंड देन आई थॉट कि अब जो अगले 100 साल 200 साल आपको एंटरटेन करेंगी वो कहानियाँ इस डेकेड में, अगले डेकेड में लिखी जाएंगी. दैट वॉज द इंसाइट. सो अब उनके 2 काम करने थे मुगाफी में. वन इज़ टू बिल्ड द स्टोरीज जो आपको अगले 100 साल 200 साल एंटरटेन करें, एंड सेकेंड इज़ टू बिल्ड अ फैक्ट्री, बिल्ड अ टेक, जिससे आप कहानियों के लिए कभी वापस आपको मतलब यू डोंट हैव टू थिंक ऑफ अ स्टोरी जो आपको पास्ट में आ रही है, कहाँ से आ रही है, आपको एक सेट ऑफ कहानियाँ हमेशा आती रहेंगी टेक से. So that's a Mugafi today. If you see, Mugafi have 2 different arms. One is a tech arm, जहाँ पे what we have done, we have built the world's best fiction model today. And this is trained on millions of stories. This is trained on millions of screenplays.
तो अपने आप
स्टोरी जनरेट नहीं करता, it's a co-pilot. So आप AI वर्ल्ड में ना क्रिएटिविटी में AI से राइटर्स को रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकते. जैसे इंटरनेट आया था सबको लगा था कि आप रिप्लेस हो जाओगे, आपका काम इंटरनेट कर देगा, वैसा नहीं हुआ, आप और प्रोडक्टिव हो गए. सो हमें लगता है कि अब आप विद AI कमिंग इन यू विल बिकम मोर प्रोडक्टिव. सो ये भी एक इंसाइट है कि आप और प्रोडक्टिव हो जाओगे, आपके पास और टाइम होगा. वो टाइम कहाँ जाएगा? कंटेंट कंज्यूम करने में जाएगा, ट्रैवल करने में जाएगा. एंड दैट्स व्हाई कंटेंट इंडस्ट्री, ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री, दे विल बूम. एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे आर आल्सो द लार्जेस्ट इंडस्ट्री टुडे. 4 ट्रिलियन 5 ट्रिलियन का इंडस्ट्री है ग्लोबल. तो बहुत बड़ा स्पेस है आपके लिए बनाने के लिए. तो व्हाट वी डू, फिक्शन मॉडल है हमारा, फिक्शन LLM है, ट्रेंड इन हाउस, 3 साल रिसर्च करके डेवलप किया हुआ है. ऑन द टॉप ऑफ दैट हमने एक पहला राइटिंग टूल बनाया, राइटिंग टूल विच इज़ AI को पायलट फॉर राइटर्स, जहाँ पे आप अगर राइटर हो और आपके पास कोई भी कहानी है तो आप आओ प्लेटफॉर्म पे, आप वो कहानी लिखो और आपके साथ एक सोचो सीनियर राइटर है हु विल हेल्प यू टू राइट फास्टर बेटर, जो आपसे पूछेगा कि यार ये कैरेक्टर ऐसे क्यों नहीं है, ऐसे क्यों है, इस कहानी में ये मिसिंग है, इस कहानी में ये मिसिंग है, या फिर फॉर एग्जांपल ये कहानी यहाँ से कॉपी लग रही है ना, सो आप कुछ नया सोचो, फ्रेश सोचो, फिर ये कहानी का पोटेंशियल IMDb स्कोर क्या होगा ना, कहानी से बॉक्स ऑफिस कलेक्शन कितना होगा, ये कहानी किसके लिए बनी है, कौन से कल्चर के लिए जाती है, तो उससे आपको पता चलेगा कहानी आपको बेचनी किस है ना, ये कहानी आप लोकल OTT पे बेचोगे या ये कहानी आप नेशनल OTT को लेकर जाओगे, ये कहानी इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में जाएगी। सो वो लेवल का ग्रैनुलैरिटी है, प्लस जो काम आप 2 साल में करते हो कहानी लिखने का, वो काम आप अब हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे 2 महीने में 3 महीने में कर सकते हो। सो वो एक इम्पॉर्टेंट फीचर है वेद का। उसके बियॉन्ड जाओगे तो आपको एक स्क्रिप्ट एनालिसिस सॉफ्टवेयर मिलता है जहाँ पे आप अपने एग्जिस्टिंग कहानियों को अपलोड कर सकते हो एंड वी विल गिव यू स्टेप बाय स्टेप डिटेल कि यार ये कहानी में कैरेक्टर कौन से हैं, वो कैरेक्टर किस एक्टर पे सूट करेंगे, वो कैरेक्टर सीन बाय सीन आपका ब्रेकडाउन कि सीन में क्या ख़राब है, क्या अच्छा है, इंपॉर्टेंट है नहीं है, तो एक पूरा डिटेल्ड एनालिसिस बना रहे हैं। देन नाउ वी आर रिसर्चिंग ऑन कन्वर्टिंग दीज इनटू कॉमिक्स, तो दैट्स अ टेक प्लेटफॉर्म एंड वी बिलीव कि आपको अगर एक स्पाइडरमैन चाहिए ना तो आपके पास कम से कम 10,000 राइटर एक टाइम पे सोच रहे हो, कम्पीट कर रहे हो, तब एक स्पाइडरमैन निकल के आता है, एक आयरन मैन निकल के आता है। तो अगर इंडिया लिखेगा नहीं तो आपको इंडिया से एक फ्रेंचाइज मिलेगी नहीं, है ना। सो वो 10 राइटर के बीच में बैठ के आप एक स्पाइडरमैन नहीं निकाल सकते, है ना। वो 10,000 राइटर्स को एक आइडिया देना पड़ेगा, तब जाके आप उसमें से एक स्पाइडरमैन या 5 स्पाइडरमैन निकलेंगे। तो इसलिए 2 थिंग्स, वन इज एक्ट लाइक अ कैनवा, जो कैनवा ने किया डिजाइनर्स के लिए, वो वेद करता है राइटर्स के लिए, प्लस इट ब्रिंग्स अ लॉट ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ कंटेंट जिसमें से आप कल का मार्वल्स, कल का हैरी पॉटर आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं।
इसमें इसी टेक वाले भी रहते हैं, तो ये राइटर्स जो है दे कम टू योर प्लेटफॉर्म एंड उससे उनको मदद मिलता है टू राइट इवन बेटर and then the scripts that they eventually come out with that goes into the market with their own volition, मतलब वो खुद ही जाके उसे market
both options. So as a writer, if you think you have a good network, you can go, but then we have a exploitation team जिसका काम, and exploitation is a bad word, काट देना प्लीज, but IP वैसे बोलते हैं exploitation rights ही हैं, but business team है ना, इसका काम है कि IP के business rights लेना और फिर उसे आगे सेल करना। सो हमारा सॉफ्टवेयर हमें बताता है कि ये IP जो है वो ऑडियो के लिए अच्छी है, अच्छा। तो हम ऑडियो प्लेटफॉर्म्स के पास लेके जाते हैं। ये IP जो है हरियाणवी IP है, तो हम हरियाणवी OTTs के पास लेके जाएंगे। ये IP आपके पास वो नेटवर्क एग्जिस्टिंग है। We are also backed by a lot of studios. Then I have invested in a lot of OTT platforms. So it's a mix of network. Anyway. Yeah. In last 10 years, that's what we end up on doing. It's a large network across India, Saudi, US is what we've been able to generate.
तो commercially अगर देखें तो these writers would have a different payment for जो स्टोरी में हेल्प हुआ और फिर नेटवर्क ले जाने के लिए अलग कमर्शियल्स।
हाँ, तो नेटवर्क ले जाने के लिए वी चार्ज ऑन सक्सेस रेट।
अच्छा।
बट क्या है कि अब आप एक राइटर हो, एक बहुत अच्छी बात आता है, आपने कहानी लिखी, वो कहानी के मल्टीपल राइट्स होते हैं। वो कहानी का ऑडियो राइट होता है, TV राइट होता है, सैटेलाइट राइट हो गया विच इज TV, फिल्म राइट है, वेब सीरीज राइट है, एनिमेशन राइट है, गेमिंग राइट है, कैरेक्टर राइट है। बट आपको नहीं पता ये, तो आप क्या करते हो, आपने कहानी के राइट मुझे दिए और आपने लेट्स से मैंने आपको लमसम 10,000 दिया और आप खुश हो गए कि यार मेरी कहानी कहीं चली गई और मुझे 10,000 रुपये आ गया। बट नाउ व्हेन यू गो टू स्टार वॉर्स के राइटर ने देन ही सोल्ड हिज IP, उन्होंने कहा कि यार मैं सारी IP देने को तैयार हूँ लेकिन मुझे मर्चेंडाइजी IP रखना है अपने पास, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट मर्चेंडाइजी IP ही बॉट द स्टार वॉर IP बैक। यू नो, सो एज अ राइटर इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू आइडेंटिफाई कि यार देयर आर बंच ऑफ राइटर्स, बंच ऑफ IPs दैट रिवॉल्व्स अराउंड व्हाट यू आर राइटिंग, एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी डू। वी से यार आपका काम क्रिएटिव है, आप क्रिएटिव करो, लेट अस टेक केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग। नाउ व्हेन वी गो आउट एंड वी सेल, वी ओनली सेल ऑडियो राइट्स फॉर यू, बाकी राइट्स हमने रखे हुए हैं। कल को कोई और आएगा, हम उसे वीडियो राइट देंगे, इंटरनेशनल राइट देंगे, एंड एवरी टाइम वी मेक मनी, योर मनी विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड बैक टू यू। सो इट्स लाइक यू क्रिएटेड एन IP एंड इफ द IP इज रियली बिग इनफ, यू कैन मेक मनी लाइफ टाइम ऑन इट। सो दैट्स हाउ द मार्केट वर्क्स।
समझिए, ये टेक वाला पार्ट है।
सेकेंड पार्ट है कि अब ये पूरा टेक यूज करके बहुत सारी IPs हम जनरेट कर रहे हैं, सो वी आर क्रिएटिंग अवर ओन फ्रेंचाइज। सो 2 फ्रेंचाइज हैं टुडे। एक है मोक्ष, थिंक ऑफ it's a mythological driven universe which is inspired from a lot of mythological characters of India, Southeast Asia who are born in this era and how their journey looks like. So we have 1,500 plus comics in that.
This is fictional.
This is fictional, yeah. The announcement of that, the first trailer will go out in next month of Wonderful. That universe. Second is our Mugafi.
So what, you'll make animated
So we do same. So if you go back and look Marvels or a Pokemon, they have all same methodology. You start with comics, then you identify the comics, you convert them into animation, then you eventually go into film. It's a 3-year timeline, but it gives you it increases success rate by almost 30x, 40x.
If you take that path.
If you take that path, it's a long path, obviously, and that's why we are innovating, right? So we have that journey, or we have the time frame to innovate. Second is our Mugafi Defense Universe, under which we are collecting a lot of defense stories from India and around India. Think of, when you look at a Hollywood movie, you find a CIA or FBI solving all the world's issue for you. So you feel, okay, if these people are not here, we will be shot down by aliens by now. So, but we also have our own force, right? We have a RAW, you go to Israel, you have a Mossad, you have a Russian force, you have a Chinese spy. Why are they not doing anything? So what we are building a whole comics group, again 1,000-1,500 plus comics, different 20 plus operations, and the first operation which is going out live is Operation Black Lotus. All the war happening in Mongolia, where Russia, China and India are the part of it. So we are announcing a trailer of that also next month. So yeah, so these are two parallel universes we are developing, and then we do a lot of partnership IPs where we buy out the character rights, and then we develop those characters into.
So this, you will also become should become one of the prominent production houses.
One day, yes. It's a Disney path. What we are going on a Disney path. Think of a Disney with the underlying technology is what we are heading towards.
And क्या timeline आप देना चाहोगे India को, भारत को for
their first universe? Like we have an internal timeline. 27 will go live on a floor with our first movie in Defense Universe, and 28 April will go live on the floor with our first movie in Mythology Universe. It's called Mox. 3 years, 4 years.
And उसमें भी एक separate set of directors, producers, actors.
Yeah, obviously.
That entire piece. While you are the backbone.
Yeah.
In that. बहुत interesting. ये जो AI वाला पूरा scene, and ये we have had other AI founders also on the platform, and उनके बहुत varying views रहे हैं AI को लेकर. आपने जैसे कहा कि AI is only going to make us more productive, it's not going to replace us, right? मेरा ये मानना है कि बहुत सारे काम आज के डेट में भी AI 90% ह्यूमन से बेटर करता है, राइट? एंड 90% इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि इंडिया इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी पॉपुलस कंट्री, और वहाँ पे जो लेवल ऑफ एजुकेशन हुआ है वो वहाँ पे उन्हें दिमाग से वहाँ पे नहीं पहुँचा है कि आप प्रोडक्टिवली काम कर पाओ, राइट? तो मुझे तो लगता है 80-90% जॉब्स चेंज हो जाने चाहिए और पुराने वाले AI को करना चाहिए जो आज के डेट में ह्यूमन बींग्स करता है, राइट? एंड देयरफॉर आई हैव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग व्यू ऑन दैट कि व्हाटएवर कैन बी रिप्लेस, ताकि इंसान को भी मौका मिले इवॉल्व करने का और सोचने का कि हम कैसे बेटर हो सकते हैं. व्हाट्स योर व्यू ऑन द फ्यूचर ऑफ हाउ AI is going to take over?
I think much similar. And what's going to happen, and that's how you see the industry of spirituality, meditation, all that's going to boom, right? Because when AI comes, what AI is doing is we feed all the data, it works on the data and gives you the output. It does the smart things more smartly, does the operational things more effectively. Right. So things happening. So a lot of the operational job will be sorted by AI, and that's a good part. As a human, why do you have to put your brain into doing the operational tasks, right? What's our day-to-day fight? That we are thinking less, we are doing our operational work more. Like our most of the time went into managing things, operating things, writing things. If those things can happen by AI, your job will become to do the smart things, right? Imagine, think what else could be possible, expanding the possibility, expanding the horizon.
सही बात है.
So I think what need to be changed right now is the education system. That you have to go away from the method of learning things and writing things and move on the method of understanding things and thinking the more possibilities around them. In a lot of things, and why I say AI makes us more productive, because when it takes the operational task away, for example, you and me do not know how to write a screenplay, but we always have a story in mind which have been taught by someone, told by someone. So I go on a platform and I write this story and let the AI convert this into a screenplay, which is a different art altogether. You don't have to learn that new thing, because that's also an operational task. You go out from all that, and what you're just doing now is writing, imagining. Think more, write better, and let all the other optional things go away, and that's how you save 80% of your time. I think in humans' life, 80% of time will get saved because of AI. So you have 4-5 things to do. You can do meditation, you can do travel, you can do entertain yourself, and I say this out loud also, that or you do drugs, or you can expand your horizon. And you see these 3 industries like drugs, travel, and entertainment all are multi-trillion, and everything else is floating around them. So human time, how you use it is up to us, up to all of us. See, AI will come, we like it, we don't like it, we can't change much around it. So what we can do is find out what else and how we can actually grow beyond AI. So the people who are more fearful of AI are the people who are actually doing all operational tasks.
Yes.
And that's what, it creates more trouble.
And are in their extreme comfort zone, even from an operational perspective also, and therefore are scared of anything. Forget AI. Even if a friend starts doing well, they start feeling insecure. So it's not about AI alone. For that kind of people, you spoke about drugs, and if we just stay on this point for a moment, when you compare spirituality and any form of substance, it's not very different, because this is like a shortcut that takes your mind to that level, and here you have to actually undergo a lot of meditation, training your mind. Eventually you go there only, where this is taking you from a shortcut. But because if you take the right path, you have done the hardships, and therefore you know what it is to stay there, and therefore you don't fall back. But if you take the wrong path, you kind of fall back very quickly, and then you get through a dissonance. Right? If I'm trying to put this in the right
completely right.
Right, right possible way. So, but the kick is very strong, right? And therefore you feel that, oh wow, I've done nothing. It's just one.
Mushroom, and I'm there.
And I'm there. And I didn't have to do anything. How do you advise the current youth, and we are no one to advise, but maybe suggest the current youth to actually taste or experience spirituality, which eventually is actually much stronger than this, and it stays longer?
No, again, for anything like a spirituality, I think, and I read this book called Autobiography of Yogi, and everyone suggests that you read it as many times as possible.
Fantastic.
Every journey, see, the point is, anything that you find super easy will eventually go away, and it won't last long, and that happens, right? But whenever you put an effort towards something, you also gain the experience of managing that. And because it's not about staying high, it's actually not about that. It's actually about what are you doing when you're high. How are you managing your high?
True.
And it's a spiritual high I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the alcoholic high or a mushroom high. I'm talking about whenever you reach at that point where your brain is at a place where it can expand, think a lot. It's not about that how fast I reach at that place. It's about how am I managing that place of mind. If you go to a lucid dreaming, it's not about learning lucid dreaming, and that's all. In that process, you also learn what to do when you are there, how to control it when you are there, how to get the best out of it when you are there, and how to not misuse it when you are there. And those learnings you can't get on a substance. So that's what I say to everyone. Like, it's not about where you reach, but it's a lot about what happens and how you control yourself, or how you make a best use of it to the place where you're reaching.
So true. So true. I think that's beautifully put. Mugafi is a lot about storytelling also, Vipul, and I run a company called Crack, where storytelling is my highest selling module. So if we can draw a corollary in that, I keep reviewing and evolving the storytelling module also. And of course, when I'm teaching I'm Ahmedabad graduate storytelling, it's very different from when I'm teaching a school child storytelling also, right? And that's the school to college horizon that we cover. And I get fascinated every time, irrespective of the age, caste, creed, nationality. When I just say, okay, let me tell you a story, even people who are not listening, who are disinterested, would suddenly start having that attention coming back, and it's magical in a way. And it's so obvious also, but it's still magical every time that happens. But even then, I feel we have not been able to really explore the deep secrets of storytelling, and therefore use it to our advantage,
Yeah.
knowing very well that's how the human mind works.
Yeah, so true.
How do you, as a founder who is actually taking this skill to the world, what's your viewpoints on this to my audience also who wants to learn storytelling?
Again, this is a tough question, right? Like, you don't have an easy answer to it, but the good part, that 4-5 things I'll try to point out here, and one is that every generation have a different expectations from a story, right? So your parents were teaching you, they have a different version of the story what their parents would have taught them. It would change based on what your today's requirement are, you know. And when you go out and talk about, let's say, there are a lot of things in India, and the festivals that we do, the food that we eat, the fasting that's been told to us, it's all told in a form of story for a very, very long time. Before, we were highly influenced by West, and now the science makes us do that. You know, otherwise you see Indians are fasting forever, and for the reason of God, for the reason of the stories, for the reason of the moon, Ekadashi, right? That's also, and I've been taught either you keep a fast on that day or you don't eat a rice on that day. And that's been told as a false story, that why eating a rice on that is a bad thing, why one day God have done this and this happened. But now, because we are highly influenced with West, we look at the science behind it, and science also says the same thing. So what's been happening in the past, if you look back, that our grandparents or our ancestors, they have converted all these science in form of stories, because they knew that the stories worked wonder on the human being, and they remember and they can pass it on.
Yes.
While science, obviously it's good information, but you keep passing it on. People say, यार कितना science कर रहा है, मतलब इतना क्यों बोलता है. जब कोई बोलता है कहानी सुनाता है, तो कहानी फिर आगे सबको सुनाते हैं. सो आई थिंक वो हमारे एंसेस्टर्स को पता था, तभी हमें हर चीज़, हमारे वेद देखो आप, हर जगह हमें कहानियों के माध्यम से सिखाया गया है कि कैसे दिनचर्या रखनी है, कैसे आपको क्या खाना है, क्या नहीं खाना, किस दिन क्या मेडिटेट करना है, वगैरह वगैरह. आई थिंक स्टोरी टेलिंग हमारे इतिहास का एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा रहा है. तो जब आप आज हमारे यहाँ स्टोरी देखते हो, कोई भी कहानी आप देखो जो इंडिया से निकल के आती है, उसमें अलग अलग इमोशंस होते हैं. सो नवरस बोला जाता है, 9 अलग अलग इमोशंस होते हैं. हम मल्टीपल इमोशंस एक कहानी में कैरी कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जब वेस्टर्न, जो आप 90s के टाइम की मूवीज़ देखोगे, वो इंडिया में क्यों नहीं चलती थी, इंडिया क्यों नहीं देखता था? बिकॉज वो वन फ्लैट इमोशंस पे होती थी. इफ इट्स अ हॉरर, इट्स अ कंसिस्टेंटली हॉरर. बट हमने हॉरर में कॉमेडी भी देखा है ना. तो हम मल्टीपल इमोशंस एक कहानी में कैरी करना जानते हैं. उससे क्या होता है, ऑडियंस का इंटरेस्ट बहुत अप एंड डाउन होता है. दे आर ऑलवेज ऑन द फ्लोर. यार अब क्या होगा, अब क्या होगा. दे लाफ एंड दे अगेन गो बैक ऑन द फ्लोर. आई थिंक वो एक इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि आप एक कहानी में क्या क्या कवर हो रहा है, कितने टाइप के इमोशंस कवर हो रहे हैं, कितनी बार ऑडियंस सोच रही है कि व्हाट नेक्स्ट, है ना. एंड हमारी कहानियों में हमेशा एक अंत रहा है ना. एंडिंग इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस. मतलब अपन पूरी कहानी सुनते इसलिए कि एंडिंग होगी, उस एंडिंग में सब ठीक हो या ख़राब होगा, पता चलेगा क्या हो रहा है. सो 2 चीज़ें हैं जो देखनी चाहिए हमें. एक तो कि हम किस टाइप की ऑडियंस को कहानी सुना रहे हैं ना. जो आज की कहानी है, जो जेन जी को सुननी है, वो कहानी रामायण नहीं हो सकती. बिकॉज रामायण को हम सुनते थे या हमारे पेरेंट्स सुनते थे, उनका वर्ल्ड को देखने का तरीका बिल्कुल अलग था. तो अगर आपको जेन जी को सेम कहानी सुनानी है, और सेम आपको ये देखना चाहिए कि मुझे इस कहानी से, और कहानी इज़ माई सेकेंडरी ऑब्जेक्ट, माई प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्ट, कि मुझे ये वैल्यू सिस्टम और ये वैल्यूज़ क्रिएट करनी है एक पूरी जनरेशन में. वो वैल्यूज़ ये जनरेशन कैसे समझती है, और उस जनरेशन को अंडरस्टैंड करके आपको उस वैल्यूज़ के अराउंड एक कहानी बनानी है जो आज की जनरेशन रिलेट करे. जैसे आप चाइना देखो, है ना. चाइना में क्या करते हैं, बच्चों को क्लास में ये सिखाते हैं कि फ़ोन यूज़ करने से क्या होता है. तो एक प्रॉपर स्कूल में तो एक प्रॉपर वीडियो प्ले होती है हर दिन, सुबह 2 मिनट 3 मिनट्स का, जिसमें एक लड़की होगी, वो फ़ोन यूज़ करेगी. उसके सामने 2 ऑप्शन होते हैं, एक फ़ोन का, एक बुक का. वो फ़ोन उठाती है, फ़ोन से एंजॉय करती है, फिर उसकी पूरी लाइफ दिखाती है कैसे एक टाइम पे उसको जॉब नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, और वो 10,000 20,000 रुपये कमा रही है मैक्स. और फिर एक और वीडियो आती है उसके जस्ट बाद, जहाँ पे उसने बुक चूज़ किया,
उसी लड़की.
हाँ. एंड देन दैट ऑल इज पुट सो मच साइकोलॉजिकली इन दोज जनरेशन दैट दे आर ऑलवेज आफ्टर द बुक्स, नॉट द फोन. सो आपको समझना है आज की जनरेशन को क्या चाहिए, एंड गोल क्या है उनका, वॉट ऑल आर दीज पीपल चेजिंग. अगर मैं चेज सक्सेस कर रहा हूँ, तो आप बताओगे सक्सेस आने के ये तरीके हैं, और ऐसे ही आती है. अगर आपने यहाँ से डाइवर्ट किया तो नहीं आएगी. वो डिसिप्लिन सिखाना, वो सक्सेस सिखाना, आई थिंक हमें वो इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम आज की जनरेशन को पहले समझें, उनके वैल्यू सिस्टम को समझें, और फिर जो हमें वैल्यूज फीड करनी है वो हम अपनी कहानियों के माध्यम से जो उन्हें समझ में आए वैसे फीड करें. सो ऑडियंस समझना और वैल्यू सिस्टम समझना और कहानी का कोर ऑब्जेक्टिव होना बहुत ज़रूरी है अगर आपको कहानी सुनानी है तो.
फ्यूचर क्या है? मतलब आई नो यू स्पोक अबाउट टू लेट्स से मूवीज कमिंग आउट इन 26 and 27 and 28. अगले 5 साल 10 साल अगर मुगाफी देखोगे, आज कहाँ पे है थोड़ा न्यूमेरिकली अगर बताओगे, और आगे कहाँ पहुँच रहे हैं?
सो ऑलमोस्ट 30,000 राइटर हैं जो प्लेटफॉर्म यूज़ कर चुके हैं. 3 से 4,000 कहानियाँ फिनिश होती हैं प्लेटफॉर्म पे एवरी मंथ. ये न्यूमेरिकली है. रिटेंशन इसमें क्या है कि एक राइटर लिखता लंबे समय तक है, तो वंस यू आर इन. सो वी आर नॉट अ माउ डाउ रिटेंशन कंपनी. मतलब इट्स आई गेव यू 80% नंबर, इट लुक्स लाइक यार कैसे हो सकता है, बट राइटिंग में ऐसे ही होता है बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव एनी अदर ऑप्शन लेफ्ट टुडे, राइट. इन टर्म्स ऑफ IPs, there's a good bank around it. More than 2,000 IPs which are sellable IPs lying in the bank at any point of time. Good partnership. We expanded in Saudi. Last year we opened our office in Saudi. We're launching a Mugafi Arabic to cover that market. I'm a big fan of Arabian Nights, where the Aladdin comes from. So we believe there's a one large franchise waiting in that category of the world. One big motivation to go in Saudi, start in Saudi. Then I think 10 years we'll think of as a Disney of this era, with the AI as a core or tech as a core. But yeah, that's where we are heading to.
और ये आपका दूसरा देश है.
I call them a house of franchise. So we eventually will build a house of franchise.
जैसे डिफेंस हो गया,
मोक्ष हो गया, Arabian Night could be one. So
Arabian Night बचपन में मेरा भी वन ऑफ द फेवरेट शोज.
सिंदबाद, अलादीन.
हाँ, और वो जो म्यूजिक से शुरू होता था उसी से. एंड ये बहुत इमेजिनेशन कैप्चर करता था कुछ ऐसे एपिसोड्स. एंड आई थिंक इसमें बहुत एग्जांपल्स आपको अक्रॉस द ग्लोब भी मिलेंगे.
2-3 बने हैं बस. उसके अलावा कहानियाँ बस कहानियों के फॉर्म में. कभी ये उतना फूटा नहीं जितना बाकी से फूटे हैं, बिकॉज आई थिंक मीना एज अ कोर इज ऑल्सो नाउ एंटरिंग इनटू दैट वर्ल्ड ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट, वेयर दे आर ओपनिंग अप मोर फॉर द मीडिया साइड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. सो आई थिंक इट्स अ 5-year journey for them, where you see a big franchise comes from there. We have seen Japan have done that with Pokemon. We have seen Korea is now trying hard to build that one large franchise. We see MENA will eventually the next. Southeast Asia and India, like these three are still have to have their own. Many of the people don't know, like the best of the best. Like you look at the lot of great movies that West have given, and there is a big inspiration of those movies comes from Russia. So Russians were the one who started a greatest sci-fi books the world ever had seen, because they are not marketed that globally. We see them in the form of the greatest US movies, but all them is some or a large inspiration from a Russian cinema. So between 1920 and 40 a lot of content being created. I see that's a game now gonna happen, where you're gonna see a lot of content coming from this side of the world.
ये wonderful. आखिरी चीज़ ये बताओ, एज अ फाउंडर रनिंग अ कंपनी अलॉन्ग विथ मल्टीपल इंटरेस्ट एरियाज जो आपके पास हैं, तो आपका एक नॉर्मल दिन या नॉर्मल हफ्ता कैसा दिखता है?
So I think it's very important also, but I've been able to get a very good team around. The people who are heading business, the people who are heading comics, the people who are heading each franchise, the people who are heading tech, and all these top players are like, one, insanely experienced, and second, like great managers too, right? So with all of them coming in, my life becomes a lot easier, to get into a day-to-day ops, and that gives me enough time to look at from a 50,000 feet, solves the larger problem that came. Personally, I'm very interested in creative, so I get involved in whatever defense work we are doing, whatever podcast we are doing, whatever mythological work we are doing, because it somewhere comes from what I want to build. I come from a maths and tech background. I've coded for a long time, so I have a decent enough experience. So I say you have to have experience in all the categories possible that you have been building inside. For the first 3-4 years, I was the only sales guy in the company before I really hired someone. So I've done sales on my own. So the good part, the moment you are hands-on, you know that what can come, what cannot come, how to tackle the situations, and if the work is really heading right or growing right, because you need to be the greatest observer at least, right? If not the executor. And then I have read this somewhere that you have a power, then you have a superpower. So my power is execution. I've been a great executor for a long time, but my superpower is networking, finding the right opportunities, finding the right places to go, connecting the team with the right people so the business grows. Then I went and moved to utilize my superpower, where I go and I just connect people, and then put my team members in the right place, and then they lead the whole conversation.
तो ये आइडेंटिफाई कैसे करते हैं पावर और सुपर पावर?
तो पावर होती है जो आप बहुत अच्छे से कर सकते हो लेकिन मज़ा नहीं आ रहा. सुपर पावर होती है आप बहुत अच्छे से कर सकते हो, बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है. मतलब एग्जीक्यूशन में बहुत टाइम तक किया है. मतलब आप I've been a teacher for a long time. I've been executing. My first job was in operation. मैं cabs को कॉल करके बुलाता था, लगाता था.
Cabs को?
First is travel tech ना, रूटो को, intercity cab services. तो वो भी किया है. तो I was doing it well. मतलब मज़ा भी आ रहा था, ठीक है कर लिया. But after a while लगता है नहीं. अब I think if I'll keep executing whole day, मुझे लगता है कि यार मैंने ये 4 काम मिस कर दिए, 5 काम मिस कर दिए. मैं उतना प्रोडक्टिव नहीं जितना हो सकता हूँ. This is not the best use of my time. So that's where you start doing something and ये तो बहुत सही है. मतलब this is where you are enjoying it. This is where you are connecting, knowing, understanding new things, and learning is very important. The more people you meet, the more learning you get and how the world is functioning. And you as a founder cannot be cut yourself away from the world. And you have to really be there. What you have to do is to cut yourself from all the information which are not needed. You have to cut yourself from reacting to the information. You can't react to it. कि जैसे आई वेंट आउटसाइड, मैंने कुछ नया देखा और मैं वापस आया, मैंने सब बंद करो, ये करते हैं, वो रिएक्ट नहीं कर सकते आप, है ना. आपको पता होना चाहिए. तो वन, यू आर वेरी सिक्योर अबाउट व्हाट यू आर बिल्डिंग, यू आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट दिस इज वेयर दिस विल हेड टू. एक बार वो आ गया आप में, देन आई थिंक योर गोल इज टू जस्ट फाइंड मोर एंड मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन. आप जितना ज़्यादा सीखोगे, जितना समझोगे, आई थिंक उतना आप कहीं ना कहीं किसी ना किसी तरीके से अप्लाई कर पाओगे बैक इन द बिजनेस. That's the only thing.
कोई एक दो चीज़ जो आप फाउंडर्स को एडवाइस करना चाहोगे कि ये ना करें ड्यूरिंग द जर्नी फर्स्ट फ्यू इयर्स?
Stick to idea. कभी नहीं होना चाहिए. For a long time नहीं होना चाहिए. जब तक, मतलब मैंने बहुत कुछ मार्केट सीखा. अपने पास कोई उबर प्लेबुक नहीं था, है ना. तो अपन को बस एक एंड गोल पता था. And when I say idea, I mean the mode of doing things. It could be कि मुझे पता है मुझे मार्वल्स बनाना है इंडिया से, बट कैसे बनाना है मुझे नहीं पता. सो मैं आज एक तरीका ट्राई कर रहा हूँ और मुझे जैसे ही लगता है कि यार ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है, यू हैव टू बी स्ट्रॉन्ग इनफ टू किल योर सेल्फ एंड फाइंड व्हाट्स अ बेटर वे. एंड इफ यू फाउंड अ बेटर वे, तो कई बार क्या होता है, बहुत हार्ड होता है कि मैं आज कुछ गया और मैंने सीखा कि यार ये तो इससे बेटर तरीका है करने का, बट क्योंकि मैंने कुछ बनाया है, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा उसे लेके इमोशनल हूँ और मुझे लगता है कि यार ये मैंने बनाया है तो यही सही तरीका होगा, आई विल नॉट मूव अहेड. आई थिंक वो थिंकिंग बियॉन्ड यू इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एज अ फाउंडर. लाइक इट्स नॉट अबाउट यू, इट्स अबाउट व्हाट यू आर बिल्डिंग. सो योर कंपनी इज ऑलवेज मच अबव देन वेयर यू आर एंड हु यू आर.
Very interesting, Vipul. One last question before we wrap this up. One piece of advice for a lot of young people who are watching Badhta India देखो. हमारा प्लेटफॉर्म ऐसा है जो एस्पायरिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को शुरू करने में हेल्प करता है, स्टार्टअप एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को स्केल करने में हेल्प करता है, एंड ओवरऑल भारत को सपने देखने में मदद करता है. तो उनके लिए आपके कुछ लास्ट शब्द?
आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टेक रिस्क एंड गो ऑल इन. Try hard and keep trying. Like, it's a long journey and you will get or face a lot of failures, but as you keep passing through all that, I think it's become very easy at one point of time. And second is network. I think networking is more important, and I say networking is a surface area of luck, so the more networked you are, the more people you meet, the more places you go to, the more you expose yourself, the higher chance of you being lucky. Like, for me, being lucky is nothing but equal to the larger surface area of people and opportunity you create for yourself. So I think very important, expose yourself, watch more, meet more people, and the moment you think that can this work out, don't ask, try and do it. Maybe it won't, but you will learn 1 or 2 new lessons about yourself and the thing that you are thinking of.
Thank you so much, Vipul. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I hope you also had the same time. Thank you for coming to.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and it was lovely speaking to you.
मजा आ गया, right? Here we have one person, Vipul, who is building AI for the world by just a barrage of stories. 10,000 writers together building one character, and that one character then surviving the world. Wow! I am looking forward to the Mugafi journey. पर आप मत भूलिएगा लाइक करना और सब्सक्राइब करना, and also pressing the bell icon below. Thank you and look forward to see you again.